Yo, 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 yo. This your boy Sam. I am happy to be back after I don't know, man. I think we've been gone for like a couple months. So, but I'm glad to be back. I'm actually joined today by my homeboy, Van Glorious. Man, what's up, man?
Oh, what it do? What it do? What's
What's
happening, man?
Not much, man. Not much, man. We got an opportunity to man to actually see some real football. We got something to actually really react to. Florida State had a little spring showcase game, which actually it really wasn't that bad this year. He actually put somewhat of like a real game on for like, a good 15, 30 minutes of the program. So it really wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it as much.
Yeah, I mean, part of that was probably because Mike probably needed to see what was really under that hood.
You think so?
Well, I mean, I think he had an idea what he had. You got to remember the last 2 years, um, he his key players were pretty much in place the last 2 years. So he was kind of seeing this, that, and the third. But aside from DB and even to an extent DB, like that, everyone in that room, everyone in each particular set, man, I mean, they got some significant new pieces in there. So I think
Yeah.
you really need to see what stress, put them in a different type of stress situations, man.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. I know it's been a minute since I've been on the pod and been busy with life stuff. I'm a happily married man now. My boy Brandon don't kind of he's transitioning with a move and some other things. So, he probably won't be on a pod again. He might slide through I don't know, maybe one day, but for the most part, he's kind of transitioned away from the pod, which is fine. So, it's gonna be a different type show, man. Different type show, different type vibe. But I think me and Brian always have some pretty good conversations. So I think it'll be okay. Um, yeah, man. Thank you for that. Congratulations. But you didn't go to the game this year, right?
No, no. Unfortunately, man, I had a we had laid a family member to rest. Ironically, which was in Tallahassee,
Oh
but
wow.
yeah. So yeah, I so I mean within with good reason, man. I didn't even that wasn't
Hmm.
the that wasn't on my mind at the time. So but I did come back and watch uh some plays, highlights here or there or whatever. And I got my own thoughts about what's going on.
Yeah. Well, we'll start backwards. We'll start backwards and work our way forward. What have you thought of the off season so far? Just where we at now, from the end of the season to where we at now. Got an NFL draft with the guys, getting ready to get drafted and moving from there to what they brought in the portal. Now they got guys going into the portal. So what's your thoughts?
Uh, I think it was our boy Aaron, man. He said something, man, it actually made a lot of sense. He said that where I feel what I feel about us right now is how I felt about us 2 years ago when we went 10-3. And actually it makes a lot of sense, man. Because I don't know. Me personally, I don't know. So I just kind of, I listen to, the insiders and other people on timeline just to get their thoughts or whatever, just try to make a little, you know, a synopsis about, that. And I think a lot of people are just assuming that after that season and, all this other stuff, things are just going to gel. But I mean, I honestly don't know, man, because we're putting a lot of like first time people who, in a sense, where they're being counted on to shoulder like heavy loads.
Let me ask you a question. When you watch the spring game, did you come away like thinking like, okay, this team, is going to have enough to be another quality team, good team, or did you come away thinking like, maybe it's not as good as I thought it was going to be from what I was initially thinking I was going to see? My expectations, well, I guess coming from me because I guess I'm so negative. I guess what people say I'm negative, but I came away thinking I was gonna see a little bit more, to be honest with you. I came away a little bit. I think I came away a little bit more disappointed in what I initially thought I would be when I turned it on to watch. To be honest with you, I thought it was some good signs, right? Like I thought Benson, the wide receiver Benson, I didn't expect
Yeah.
much from him, to be honest with you, but I thought he looked at it actually a lot better than I originally thought. I mean, what's a few guys for you?
Um, with the plays that I did see, okay, to answer your first question, I'm really not like the best person to answer that because every every time I've seen the showcase, I leave there thinking like I don't really know how to feel about this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just because of how disjointed it is and it's fragmented, but this time, like to your point, he kind of did things a little differently. He gave us a little bit more of a scrimmage, and I'll say that um pass pro probably is going to be an issue. I'm just pass pro that offensive line, man. After this point, man, I think it's just really weird. You
It's kind of
know,
wonky. It's kind of wonky.
yeah,
Like
and
when you look at it, so it's a couple parts of it that kind of bothered me a little bit. Like the linebackers and the safeties, I mean, you kind of go up against this offense a lot. So I think you should understand lane integrity, especially on cutback runs and what they're trying to do on some of these runs. And I thought the run fits was actually kind of bad as I was watching it. And I was like, that kind of bothers me a little bit because that's kind of some of the same stuff I saw against Georgia, right? When they played against Georgia. The run fits was kind of bad in that game also. And the only reason I'm talking about the Georgia game, I know a lot of people want to erase it and say, well, it didn't really matter, But, a lot of those guys in that Georgia game was guys you're going to be counting on, this
yeah,
season coming up, right? So that was something that kind of bothered me. I thought DJU looked at pretty poised, but it's difficult with him because if you watch DJU, he does this thing, right? When he's in good rhythm, he's a pretty decent quarterback. Like if you give him like his first 10, like that's them first like scripted plays that you give him, he'll execute those to like perfection. He did it at Clemson, right? He would always come out, he would drive the team down the field, right? So then once you kind of get away from the script, which Mike, in my opinion, I think Mike scripts more than like 20 plays. I think he scripts damn near half of football, to be honest with you. Just based on what I've seen him over the years. Like I think I think it's pretty scripted halves of football for him, especially in the first half. So that's why I kind of feel like maybe the DJU thing won't be as bad as bad as I think it could be, right?
mhm,
Um, but I think the problem with the whole DJU thing right now is I don't know if it's enough around him to really elevate him as a player, right? So when I see him kind of back up in the pocket and his head starts, he's like looking one way, and it's like he just can't take his eyes off that one guy to get to another guy, or he's still trying to fit balls in certain places. I'm kind of like, that's kind of the guy that was at Clemson. You know what I'm saying? That's the
yeah.
same guy.
Well,
So
I
to
would say
me,
this.
I think he needs receivers and tight ends to run really great routes, like to really get separation for him to really be the quarterback that we probably need him to be to win a lot of games. But then there's this other part of him that I say I think he's going to make the run game. It's going to be a tougher run game. But then there's another part of me that's looking at like, well, if Jalen Lucas is going to be the explosive part of the run game, because I don't think the Rondell Williams kids is really that explosive. I think he's a good running back, right? I think he's going to keep the chains moving and everything like that. But I think with Lucas, it's looking like, man, so he's a smaller running back, right? So,
Yeah.
God forbid he gets hurt. What do you have behind him that's going to be just as explosive? I don't really think you got that. So to me, this offense is going to be kind of plotty. It's going to be a plotty offense, like a 3 to 4 to 5 yards at a time type offense. I'm
And
kind of worried about where the explosiveness is going to come from.
well, and here's the thing: I don't necessarily think it's going to be a bad thing, man. Because at the end of the day, man, keep the chains moving. Because one of the things is explosive as they were last year, but they left, we left a lot of meat on the bone, pause, because we took shots all the time. They didn't come up, and on obvious run, fits or whatever. We couldn't get, like, how many times that we, third and one end up being 4th and 3, or 4th and 1 is turnover on downs.
Right.
I mean, we saw that at Duke. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm not mad at that, but I will say this about DJU. I mean, dude's been on campus since when, January?
Right.
Yeah, and it's it's in end of April. So,
Mm.
like, let's give him some more time. I mean, I'm not tripping on that as much. But I will say this though, it's okay for it to be plotty as long as you're not trying to be explosive with plotty players, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. So I think last year was a combination of a few things, right? And you kind of seeing this kind of these conversations starting to happen because of the NFL draft, right? And I think me and you talked about, we did like a little test pod. We were having this discussion about how these NFL scouts are looking at the passing game. They're saying, well, dang, we like Keon Coleman, but he doesn't seem very explosive, right? Like, why are they running these plays for him? It seems like he should be running different type of plays for a guy like Keon Coleman. And the passing game is kind of elementary, right? In a lot of ways, right? It's gonna be kind of like seam throws, little quick slants. It, it, it's very basic passing game, right? Like, well, Mike, with his offense, is very complicated in the run game, right? He's pulling tackles, he's pulling guards, he's pulling centers, he's what I'm saying, he's pulling backside of tight ends. That can become really, really advanced stuff. And you can win a lot of football games like that. And I also think, even though I don't think this team is as talented as it's like being said it is. Like, it's people kind of saying, like, making it seem that it's like this really, really talented team that's gonna like just it's 10 games or it's 11-game winning season, 11-win team. Because when you think 11 wins or 10-win team, you think really, really good players, right? But I do think in the ACC, where it's like these ACC teams are getting rated for all their best players. Like, you're seeing like a mass exodus at Pitt and some of these other places, right? Like, they're losing their best player. So you don't have to be a great team to win 10 games at Florida State in this conference right now, right? You don't have to be a great team. So I think they still can win 10 games, right? I just I just don't see the elevation of talent, especially at skill position. Like, I thought we would see a little bit more out of Hakeem. I thought he would be a little further along. You would see a little bit more out of him. But that
Well,
could be something that we see during the season that they didn't want to show for spring, right? So you don't
yeah,
want to take too much from that either.
yeah. Well, okay. And I always tread lightly when it comes to this stuff, right? Um, so wide receivers are kind of like, I guess, the overall takeaway, the wide receivers, like, they dropped some passes, right? And they were kind of,
They drop a lot of passes. They don't make tough catches.
yeah,
They don't
and they
make
kind
tough
of,
catches.
okay, they're kind of underwhelming. That was the
Right.
takeaway, right? Even though Benson looked good, right? So, this is a story we've heard. Is this the first time we're hearing this?
No, I mean,
It's been going on for a little while, right?
right.
So you saw, on the timeline, somebody said, like, is Hakeem going to be a bust? Which I think is funny, because I'm like, this dude is 19 years old, man, or 20 years, like, you know what I mean? Like give it time, right?
Mm.
But I will say this: there was a reason that the head of that room was on a 1-year contract,
Well, okay. So
and I just think at some point in time we have to start. And this is not me saying fire coach, because we all know that that's not going to happen. I'm
Right.
just saying we can't keep saying, oh man, like this player ain't doing this player ain't doing that. Well, who got him there, and who keeps trotting them out there?
Okay, but I think this is the problem though that we're having here. I think we all want to say, well, the wide receiver coach isn't developing the wide receivers, or the wide receiver coach is bringing in subpar wide receivers, right? But I want people to remember the way y'all looked at these recruiting classes. Not me. I'm saying the way y'all looked at them, because I didn't look at them like this. Y'all thought these guys was like diamonds in the rough. You know what I'm saying?
Man, see, we're about to go on we're about to go someplace, man. I did not want us to go.
No, I'm being honest. Like, people could call these classes like, oh no, they do a good job getting these 3 stars, and these 3 stars can do this and do that. Okay. And I told people this, and I put this on the timeline. I was like, if you recruit a player that's 6'4" and taller, that kid that's 6'4" or taller as a wide receiver, it's gonna take that kid time to develop and be a polished wide receiver. Now his ceiling might be first round potential, right? His ceiling might be a first round, second round wide receiver, but he may not be good his freshman year, his red shirt freshman year, or his red shirt sophomore year. It might take him a couple years to get there, right? Because taller guys, it's like the same thing in basketball, even though it's changing in basketball. Like I know I put out that clip of Cooper Flag, and I'm like, like this dude's 6'9" moving like this. He looks like he's a 6'2" guard. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not supposed to move like that at 6'9", you know what I'm saying? But with Hakeem, I mean Hakeem's 6'3", 200 pounds, probably 220 or whatever. And I remember somebody was telling me when A&M was recruiting him, Jimbo saw him as a guy that by year 3, he'll be making real strides at year. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Anyway, he was saying by year 3, he'll be making real strides to be a top 50 wide receiver pick by year 3. That it would take him that long to get on the field, but by the time he got on the field, he'll be really good, right? So he's only in year 2. He's just got on campus last year, right? And the Williamson, the Portier, like go look at where they was recruited at. Like these wasn't like you got go look at Ohio State, the way they recruit wide receivers. Don't look at the top guys. Go look at the bottom guys. They're 4 stars too. You don't even hear about those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Jameson
So
Williams is a great example.
yeah, like he's on the back of the bench and he wasn't quite ready. And it took him almost to what? He got to year 3 at Alabama, right? And he had
I'm
that
sorry.
one good, huh?
What'd you say?
I said he didn't bust out until year 3 when he was at Alabama.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it takes wide receivers a minimum of like a full 2 years to become college ready, like ready to contribute to give you 1,000-yard season. It take them that long. Like Rashad Green was an outlier. You know what I'm saying? Like Rashad Green's an outlier. Like it's a lot of guys that I can name them. Like they're outliers. I just think the recruiting that they did in the past is just caught up with them. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
don't have any special. I think the group that they're bringing in, they're going to be good, but they're going to be good in time. They're not going to be good this year. These true freshmen they brought in, they're not going to be good this year. And I would be surprised if they only hit on 2 of them out of the group they brought in this year. People just seen the one kid, Van Dravis, just win the portal. They was hyping that kid up last year. I'm like, what are y'all seeing? I don't like just because somebody run fast, being a good wide receiver is more than just running fast. I would tell people to go back and listen to that episode I did with Kenny Shaw where he talks about route running. Like he gets into the details of it's a lot of things you have to learn as a wide receiver, and you're doing it at full speed.
Yeah. I mean,
You
fair
know?
enough. I mean, I ain't gonna sit up here in front. I mean, I had a nasty habit of kind of picking out players and then kind of like going back and kind of following them and watching them,
Mhm.
the high school and stuff like that. And that was actually one of the kids that I was like, I really think this kid may be pretty good. Did I think he was going to be like oh, he has that it factor or anything like that. I tend not to go that route because I'll be honest with you, man, you just have any idea which way this stuff can go. You
Right.
know what I mean? And one crazy off season, man, can derail a kid. You know what I mean? As quick as actually probably easier than it can like boost a kid. So I don't do that. But I was a little disappointed that he went into the portal. But I have to ask myself, or ask you, maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but like, what does that mean? You know, as far as like, does he know something we don't?
Well, I'm just gonna say this. If they thought they had like this really good group of guys that was developing behind the guy they had last year, if they really felt that way, right? Like they brought in all these kids, Portier, Van Dravers, Williamson, all these kids, right? If you go look at last year's class, right? Last year's class, they brought in 1, 2, 3, 4. They brought in 4, 5, 6. They brought in 6 wide receivers. They didn't think those guys was gonna be good. That's
Yeah,
what that tells you, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's what they
That,
tell
that,
you. Right?
that is exactly. You see, these are the things like I'm a little like more diplomatic about that, but yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah. I
mean,
mean,
you don't bring in 6 wide receivers if you think the past 5 guys you had brought in was developing at the rate that you wanted to develop at. You know what I'm saying? You don't bring in 6 guys. And I heard that, they was more than likely they could have got, Jeremiah Smith, of course. If you could have got Jeremiah Smith, you could bring him in. And it wasn't just him. I forgot it was another wide receiver they missed out on too that they wanted. But
JoJo.
yeah, JoJo Trader, that was the other one, right? They would have brought in 8 wide. I heard they would have brought in 8 wide receivers last year. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that tells you what you think of the room, right? If you willing to bring in 8 wide receivers, that's pretty much flipping a whole room in 1 year. You know? I mean, you only lost 2 wide receivers out the group.
See, come on, man. See what you doing? What
This is the show. This is the show. This is the show. So now, but other than that, though, I mean, the wide receiver group was underwhelming, but I thought Benson was a bright spot. Like I like the way Benson was playing. He's attacking the football. I hate that the whole offense is basically the wide receiver need to make a tough catch for it to be completed, which is kind of like that's something that I hope changes eventually, right? Like I would like to see guys get schemed kind of open, right?
well, and also too, man, you and I always it's tough for me to go ahead and get unless we're like unrealistically bad or just over the top like great. It's kind of tough for me to not remember, man, that like these guys have seen each other for weeks and it's I mean like they know these guys. They know
Mhm.
how they move, they know this stuff. So yeah, these guys are going to be playing these, like Dre tougher than like Georgia Tech will.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, your point still remains. There's some stuff, with the scheme as far as that could be, the complexity could be desired. But again, like we talked about before, we've seen we've seen like the highs and the lows of a complex wide receiver route tree, aka John James Fisher.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, let's see how this boils down to, man. I just think that the fact that old boy hit he hit the panic button lets me know that or makes me think that something else is amiss or he was kind of told.
Well, man, it is what it is, man. These kids in this modern day age of portal, it is what it is at the end of the day, right? So, FSU's gonna lose players to the portal, Miami's gonna lose players to the portal, everybody's losing players to the portals, everybody's gonna get players from the portals.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think none of these guys are really different from the guy that's going in to the guy that's coming in. Right. Like maybe the attitude might be different, but I don't think the caliber of player you getting is really any different. Like I think FSU hit home runs in the last couple years, um, with four players in particular. Jermaine Johnson, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk. I think they hit home runs with those guys. But I mean, I don't really know. Like, you know,
That's ironic because that area is the one area that consistently people are just like, man, we need some new coaches
I
in there.
mean, it's across the roster. Like I was saying on timeline, like I think if you being honest with these head coaches, right? I think they would take a class of like 22 to 21 players, right? And ideally, they would like to hit on 7 or 8 of those players being NFL guys, right? And if you can do that for 3 years,
Oh yeah,
you got 21 to
yeah.
24
You
NFL players on your team that's playing, right? Which that if you got that many players on your team that's NFL, right? That's
you went in something.
you win a national championship. Like you either winning it or you playing for it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, you went in something.
yeah, so
So
this idea, like people keep be like it's always funny to me that when people want to talk about coaches and recruiting and stuff, they like to talk about if you don't like the coach, you talk about the misses. But like if you go look at Kirby, like go look at those recruiting classes. Like he might have brought in 25 players, but in that one class, he probably only hit on 7 or 6 or 5 of them. The difference is when he hit, they're like first rounders, right? Like,
yeah,
like it's Trayvon Walker, the number one overall pick. You know what I'm saying? Or it's, so it's a little different, right? Or it's 6 first rounders. You know, and that's really what you want to do. If you can do that, that's what you want to do.
yeah, man. I mean, I man, I just like Kirby. Like
Well, I'm
I
not
mean,
comparing FSU to Kirby. Though. I'm just saying in
yeah,
general. I think people think the great programs are hitting 21 out of 20. I mean, they're hitting 20
yeah.
out of 21. That's just not true. They're not hitting it that high of a clip.
But here's also the other thing about that, and just because I mean you could have the best groceries, don't mean you can't burn that food.
Right.
You still have to get these guys, get the best out of these guys. Some guys are just, like they could just get out of bed and they're gonna,
Right.
they're gonna go second round. They're just man, just stay upright, make it to the stadium. You'll be at least the second round.
Right.
But that's few and far between. So at the end of the day, man, whether it's Kirby, whether it's what's your boy out of Ohio State, the
Oh, Ryan
Heartline.
Day.
Well,
Heartline and Ryan Day.
I'm not even talking about Ryan Day. Like Heartline or whomever it is that you want to say is like somebody who produces NFL prospects or whatever. Like you still have to like coach these guys up. And
Yeah.
I don't think, and don't get me wrong, I honestly think that FSU like really has some guys who are really good. They're heavy on the teaching, but I like a little bit more balance. I'm still not a believer of the portal cures everything. I just don't believe that yet.
Right.
Because I haven't seen it
Right.
for us, like
Right.
for us, because I only care about us. I don't care about TCU. I don't care about that. I'm just saying, like, I just don't believe it cures all. But we'll see, man. Like, hey, I'm still, I'm still supporting the nose, man. So it's
Yeah,
whatever.
but I don't think the roster is bad. I think the
No,
roster I think it's a
no,
good roster, right? Because I think your offensive line is going to be able to run block, right? Like I know a lot of people was really tough on Byers. They didn't really like what they saw from Byers, but I think at the end of the day, Byers wasn't good last year. Like this dude's, I'm put it like
yeah,
this, man. If a dude's been in college for 4 years and he wasn't really that good in his 4th year, he's probably not going to be that great in his 5th year, right? If he wasn't really that great in his 5th year, probably not going to be that great in his 6th year. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the nature of it's like
yeah,
it's not much more room to grow. That's why the NFL they care about the age of the player. Like they care
yeah.
that, like I know, like it's this big deal where people keep saying how much They keep saying JJ McCarthy's overrated. He's overrated. I'm like, okay, you can believe that, but JJ McCarthy's 20, right? He's 20 years old, right? And he has the best third down tape of anybody. So they might look at JJ McCarthy and say, well, he's 20. Maybe by the time I get him to 22, 23, he might be exactly what I need, especially if there's no really good quarterbacks coming out in the next 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
So I mean, but I'm just saying in general, like that's how evaluators look at it. Like they don't
yeah,
look at what you are; they look at what you're gonna be. And
but
the
that's a
older a guy is, the less room he has to grow.
that's a double-edged sword too, because hey man, I already know, man. I told you, man. I don't necessarily see everything that you see when you're looking at these guys who's going to be good in the pros and all this other stuff. I don't see it with JJ McCarthy. I don't think he's going to be bad. I just don't think.
Well, I don't want to get into the JJ McCarthy conversation. I'm just talking about in general when we're talking
Yeah,
about projecting forward of players. I think people think players make this. I think people think they're playing Madden, right? Well, everybody gets a little bit better
yeah,
every
yeah,
year on a dynasty mode, right? And that's really actually not true. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
guys
yeah,
actually don't. Like
yeah.
guys hit a
Some people
ceiling.
plateau in high school.
Right. Yeah, like guys hit a real ceiling. Like the biggest jump a guy gonna make is what he does from his first year in college, no, his senior year in high school to what he does in his second year in college. If you're not seeing it by his second year of college, you know what I'm saying? It's probably not the jump probably not gonna be that much of a jump, right? You know what I'm saying? And some guys come in as a finished product, you know?
Yeah,
So
but
I
yeah,
think you
man.
do need some wide receivers.
Yeah,
But me personally, I would go with what I have. I mean, I would. Hakeem need to step up. I think you could go get one. I think one is fine, but you need Hakeem to step up. Benson is a good, he's okay. You're gonna be a run heavy team anyway, so you're probably only throwing the ball 20 times. Out of those 20 times that you're gonna throw the ball, let's say you throw the ball. Well, let's say you throw the ball 25 times. Knowing Norvell, 10 of
no,
those passes are going to running backs and
yeah.
tight ends. Okay.
Well, no, okay, right there, right there. Okay, now we can start to get into this, because this one I'll go ahead and I'll say this one. I'm usually pretty passive on this. I would look at tight end room before I look at the wide receiver room.
Yeah, your tight end's a problem.
Like I said this last year. I said it last year when I used to watch X's and O's. Shout out to Trey and Coach AB. I watched that religiously, and the one thing that was consistent through all that thing was Morlock missing blocks or being bad at blocking.
Right.
Like, and at 6'6", 240 or 230, and granted, it's the first year, it came from shorter.
Right.
It's a big step up. It's a huge step up in um in talent and competition. But what I was looking at, man, I was like, man, and then when I saw Biscuit dip, I was like, yo, you
Yeah.
can say what you want to about Biscuit, but
Yeah, he'll block a little bit. Yeah, I do think Landon Thomas is going to be good. I'm gonna get
yeah,
to some of these questions. Y'all keep asking the questions. I'm going to get to them. I yeah, I don't think Morlock's good. Okay, that's a hot take from me. I don't think he's good.
that
I think he will make plays. I think he'll catch touchdowns. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying I don't think he's very special. I don't think.
that's a tepid take. I don't even think that's a take. That's
Well,
like,
when I said it, normally kind of it's
yeah,
flaming.
oh
But
yeah, fine your stuff up. I'm gonna instigate him too. Make sure they see
yeah,
that.
but no, I don't think he's really good, man. I think that might have been a miss. I think they missed on him and Byers, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not crazy, and I want to be wrong about Morlock, because I think this offense, it's vital for me to be wrong about that. But
Yeah.
I do not, like last year, man. I was like, I mean, he did pretty decent, but I think that was because of all the other perceived
Pieces.
weapons that were on the field with him at the same time.
Right.
And I just think now it's going to be a little bit more condensed until somebody until maybe whatever they do craft with Toa and Jalen Lucas and Benson and whomever. Maybe they or good play action because the run game's so strong. So hopefully that will. But if it's just like, hey, we got our tight end and he's just gonna line up and we just buddy.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a problem. They got to figure that out. I think because people keep talking about Landon Thomas, and I think Landon Thomas got incredible upside. But if you're asking for a tight end and down block defensive ends, I don't think a true freshman is going to be able to do that at a high level, unless he's Brock Bowers, right?
And he didn't even do it. And
at that level, they had Washington for that type of
yes,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they had their biscuit.
Yeah, they had Washington, which he was like 6'7", 270.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
But that was different. But I'm not in love with the tight ends. Jackson West actually to me looked better than Murlock to me.
And Jackson West we may find out why Mike kept him around for so long.
Right.
So I'm open to that. And this is not like, I think Landon going to be, if they can keep him, I think Landon's going to be crazy. I think like he's going to be what I think, at least me anyway. I thought Cam McDonald was going to be when Willie signed him.
Mm-hmm.
And no.
I think people underestimate how hard it is to block as a tight end. Like I know I said this about Johnny Wilson because I listened to this podcast. They were talking about Johnny Wilson. They was talking about his pro prospects, and the guy was like, "Oh, you could just move him to tight end like Darren Waller." And then the dude was like, he said, "Yeah, but it took Darren Waller 6 years to become a good NFL player." So he was like, so if you draft Johnny Wilson and stick him at tight end, by the time he becomes good, he won't be on your team because he won't have produced anything by the end of his rookie contract. So I'm like, hey, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think Landon Thomas is going to be good. I just think I mean, I'm gonna just go ahead and give them like the benefit of the doubt that they got something else in store, man, because I just refuse to believe that Jackson West and Morlock, man, was your veteran presence.
That will be a problem if you roll into the season with those two guys. That's gonna be a problem. Personally, it's gonna be a problem. But yeah, that'll be a problem if they do that. But that's about that's that. So I'm getting some of these questions. Just want to do a quick show, man. Get some thoughts out there. After Vance, now Jacobs, who else do you guys believe will be headed to the portal? I think you're gonna see some more attrition from the wide receiver room. Would Deuce Spann be on this team? I don't know. Williamson, I don't know. Don't think so. I don't know. Who else? Hold on, I had a list. Somebody sent me a list.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, man. So for me and anybody else who may not be sure, because you hear about like, oh, they get pushed out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like how some of these, like what's the conversation when a guy's not going to be like coaches doesn't want the guy on the roster?
I don't think it's I don't think it's much of a question. I think more times than not, bro, people just look at the depth chart and they be like, "Dang man, I'm playing." They like a kid might legitimately feel like he's playing better than some guy that's ahead of him on the depth chart, right? But a coach might feel like, this guy don't have a lot of upside, so I'm gonna just keep him below on the depth chart. That's enough for a kid to leave, right?
Yeah,
it's not a lot of conversation that got to happen. I think more times than not, a lot of these coaches are pretty honest with these kids. I know people feel like they're not. I think a lot of these coaches are pretty honest. Like, man, I don't know if you're gonna have an opportunity to really play here like that. So you might want to take it down the road. Sorry about that, man. I'm getting old.
Hey, hey.
um, but I feel like I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that bad of a conversation. I think more times than not, most of these kids, they don't think they're the problem, so they go to somewhere thinking that that's going to fix it. But the real problem that need to be fixed is them.
I mean, I asked that question because I saw something, that said there's 4,000 kids in the portal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of kids in there.
it's 4K, and
Yeah,
then we talking about, man, we got to get 10. We got to drop 10. I'm like, are these kids? Are these kids like reading this stuff?
bro. What? Think about what you could tell yourself at that age, bro. It's like it's those
Well,
people
okay,
don't believe they not.
yeah, I understand that,
Yeah,
but I was in a similar position.
I mean, some guys would be like, man, I scored 4 touchdowns in high school. I got to be a good running back.
Yeah.
Like, eh,
Well, what
not
I'm
really.
saying is, like, I was in growing up, so similar position. I put it this way: I just know I needed to go to class.
Right.
I need to get my education, so I wasn't going to do nothing that was going like. If I didn't know I had a spot over here,
Mm,
I wasn't leaving this spot.
right.
Or put it this way: my parents wouldn't let me leave this spot.
But I think these kids get more validation than what we did growing up, right? Like we might have felt like, well,
Yeah,
these kids are all being told on Instagram and IG reels that they're really good, you know. Oh, you just need an opportunity. Oh, you just got to go somewhere where they're gonna let you play. They hear stuff like that all the time. So that's a big part of it.
yeah. I just worry about that, man. I just like, and especially, I mean,
Bro,
you
the
know,
portal is a shit show. It's a shit show. I'll be
yeah.
honest with you. It's a shit show because
Well, I guess, man, I
the
like the Rodney Hill saga, man. Like, as much as I hated to read that, I thought it was it was a very necessary read. And for those who aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, he basically admitted on a timeline that he got some bad advice.
right.
And absolutely nobody does that. Like, nobody in these days, everybody just doubles down on the wrongness. You never admit anything. So,
Right. But you gotta understand this though, right? Before the whole Rodney Hill saga, what was everybody saying about Rodney Hill?
yeah.
See, this is the stuff people forget, right? You forget about the one time a kid get a touchdown, you talking about he gonna be the next Warrick Dunn, right? Everybody's like feeding the kids all this, and it ain't just the people around them, it's everybody. But then as soon as the kid say, hey, I want to maximize my value, now you're like, hold up, bro, you really ain't shit. Well, he really wasn't shit before. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Your mom ain't shit.
right, you know,
he's like, yo, man, you gonna be the next word done. All right, man, pay me. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's totally different.
right. It's a different conversation when somebody want to be paid like that, right? Like people keep calling Hakeem Williams, Hakeem Anquan Bolden. Okay, now if sometime during the springtime he decide he want to be paid like an Anquan Bolden, what y'all gonna say then? Hey man,
Yeah,
you know,
you gonna be called everything but
but that,
Anquan Bolt.
right? So it's difficult. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because those kids get so much gratification that's coming their way for little shit they do because they're no blooded. But once you step out of line and say, "Oh, I want to be paid like this," then people look at you as a commodity and they start looking at you as merchandise. Then they really start putting value on you. Well, this motherfucker really only ran for like 100 yards and 2
yeah,
touchdowns,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
see what I'm
And
saying?
and I tell you what's crazy, man. If you ever in them 247 chats, man, the message boards on there, you be like, this is chattel slavery up in here, dog. The way they
But
be
they
talking
but they love them. They love them when they come though. They gonna be the
about.
next great
Oh,
thing when they get here.
but
But see, that's the thing about it. Nobody. I listen to Mike Lombardi. He talks about this. He says sometimes we got to start evaluating the evaluators. Like who is saying this stuff about these kids? Like who is telling, who thought Daniel Jones was gonna be a good quarterback? Right? Like like the person that evaluated that
But see,
You got to evaluate these people, right? You got to evaluate. So when you get like like do this. Go search Van Jacobs name in Twitter. Go search it. Go see how many of these FSU podcasts and super supporter podcasts are talking about, oh, great potential, great potential. Oh, look at this catch. Oh my God. Oh, he got potential. Oh, he got all this potential. And then I'd be looking at it like, I really don't see it. Like if I see something, if you see something special, like really see something special, then you should compare that to everything you see, right? Like I remember when AZ Thomas first got to FSU, people could call him Jalen Ramsey. And I'm like, do y'all realize how special Jalen Ramsey is? Or do y'all just compare anybody that's a little lanky that wears number 8 to Jalen
yeah,
Ramsey? Like, do you really are you really evaluating these guys and what that really looks like? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like there's a terrible habit of doing that, man. And number one, I'm not gonna go and uh research Dre's name because I'm gonna find some of the stuff that I said.
Well, people do that. And like even with AZ Thomas, when I look at AZ Thomas, I think he's more if I was gonna compare him to a DB, what's the guy that played next to Darby? PJ Williams.
PJ Williams, yeah.
See, he's probably more of a PJ Williams to me than he is a um Jalen Ramsey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
He
everybody.
probably can do he probably can do a little bit more than PJ, but him and PJ are pretty close, like talent wise to me. They somewhat very similar to me. You know what I'm saying? Kind of long, kind of lanky,
Yeah,
move pretty good suddenness, can play a little man, can play man, can play probably be better at zone. But people go straight to Jalen Ramsey, a Hall of Famer. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
like yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah. So we
I
gotta
don't
kind of
ever.
we gotta relax with some of this stuff, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I like HD because he's from my neck of the woods, man. And but I think I know he'll be good. How
No, he's a
good?
good player. He's gonna be like I think he's gonna be like a top 75 draft pick. I think he could possibly be like he could probably be a second round draft pick, I think.
Yeah,
To be honest with you. But you just gotta evaluate the evaluators, man. Who like when somebody say this kid is the next great this and that, ask him why. What puts
yeah,
him on this guy's level? Like, you know, every guy that's 6'5" or 6'4", like what made Randy Moss special wasn't that he was just fast. He had great ball tracking skills. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, yeah, man.
Yeah, so you have to be able to evaluate the evaluators and understand what you're looking at more times than not. Like, everybody just want to put these people in this box of greatness because they do one or two. Everybody got a highlight tape, man. Everybody got this guy was a problem tape. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So
But I would just okay. Let me ask you this. Then. Let me ask you this. So you say you came away a little disappointed. You thought, it's a talented team, but it's not as talented as you've been told, or
the defense looked better than what I thought it was
yeah.
on certain levels of the defense. It looked better. I think the safety is going to be a problem, and I think linebacker is going to be a problem.
Well, see, you know what? I said I wasn't gonna do that. I wasn't gonna do it because only question I ever ask is this third year in a row we talking about safety.
But it was good last year.
But what was the chatter going into the season that
Yep.
we was because remember we were mad about the UAB kid that chose Bama.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
we were talking about safeties. And the year before, we were talking about safeties.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would be like Quick on Harlem Nights. You in charge of the girls, right? You was in charge of the girls, right?
See, you back on firing coaches when coaches ain't getting
No,
fired. I don't know what
I'm
y'all
just
want me to do
saying.
here.
No, I'm just saying. Like at some like I'm cool. Like this is who we are. I'm fine with it. I just don't want people to just be like, hey, just blame the kids because there's a reason why these. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, because you had Bolden in the fold until whatever. So that happened, and
Right.
we'll leave that alone. But I'm just saying, yeah, third year in a row we're talking about the same position.
Hey man, it is what it is. They get one out the portal.
Oh, real quick, I think you got one more hot take in you though
What's that?
about women's basketball.
So I've evolved that hot take to.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get situated.
So I've evolved that hot take to I think the viewing public have a problem with white players being really, really good at basketball because you got Laker fans that think there's some type of special rotation that they could use against Jokic, right? They think they can go get like 38-year-old Dwight Howard and that's gonna like fix the Jokic problem, right? And I'm like, yeah, I just watching basketball. I think Jokic is as good as prime Shaq,
What?
prime Jordan.
Hold on. What?
Yeah, bro. He is that good, bro. He is prime Shaq, prime Jordan, prime LeBron. Like he is a unstoppable force.
No, see the game.
Just because it don't look the same don't mean he's not unstoppable.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
Now, this is my thing, and shout out to Glow Like Leroy RC. He'll tell you that I say this all the time. I don't compare eras because it's impossible to compare eras, right?
Mm-hmm.
That era is close enough that you can kind of see some similarities. So to your point, I think he is the guy at center like Shaq was. And you're right, it don't look the same.
Right.
But I think Jokic could get 32, 15, 11 and still lose.
I don't think so.
Like he's done it.
Okay.
I'm not talking about just one. Like
no.
What I'm saying
in these last 3 years, right? I haven't seen a stretch other than Jordan, LeBron. I imagine Kareem. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of Kareem, but I imagine Kareem
a stretch
too.
of what?
Of it's inevitable, right? Like they're basically gonna beat you if the team around them is even halfway decent, they're taking that team to the finals.
Dude,
Right?
for the
It's
simple
like
fact that you didn't say Tim Duncan.
no. Well, Tim also. I put Tim in that group too. But I'm just saying in general though, like there is an inevitability about Jokic right now. Like there is a you can play your best game. Your team can play the best they can possibly play, and Jokic team cannot play great at all, and they're still going to beat you by 10 points.
But okay, here's the thing.
That's Jordan stuff. Like that's Jordan.
But I'm gonna tell you why that's not, because Murray is too profound in that offense.
Okay, so
Murray's too.
So what you're doing right now is what people do with. Okay, man, listen. Murray's a great player. This is the Jordan and Scotty conversation. This is
no, it isn't. No, it's
huh?
It isn't.
Okay.
It isn't because okay. Let me ask you this: what series? What conference series do you think Scotty should have been MVP over Jordan?
I mean, there isn't one.
Okay. Now, ask yourself last year, the Western Conference Finals, Jamal Murray should have been the MVP.
Yeah, I disagree with that, but okay.
Oh, buddy. But that's not are you kidding
me? I like Murray. I think Murray's a top point guard in the NBA. I take him over Trae Young and a lot of these other guys. Everybody
definitely do that.
Yeah, I take.
You need to go back and review that one.
But I like Murray. So I'm not finna shit on Murray. But the stuff Jokic does, I think is it's at a different level. It's at a level that we are having a hard time grasping. Like we're having a hard time understanding. Like,
And the funky thing is like I believe in what you're saying. I believe Jokic is like, yo, I'm just saying, Western Conference Finals, if not for Murray, they don't win that.
okay, all right, man. You need 5 guys on the court. You need guys to play good
Oh,
around you.
now we
But
just need 5 guys.
no. But my point is this though, like Jokic is going to give you. When you talk about a 7-game series, then winning a 7-game series, if you look at his stats, I mean, it's going to be like 28, 10, and 9.
Okay.
Like he's going to do that every night.
Okay.
I mean, Murray's going to have bad shooting nights. Murray's going to go 8 for 25 on the front of the field. He's going to go 6 for 25 at the field. He's going to have 6 or 7 turnovers. That's fine. It doesn't matter because Jokic is there, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean,
I'm just telling you, go back and look. Go back, not only review, watch the Western Conference Finals, but just look at the box scores.
No, I'm not saying Murray's not good, but I'm saying
what I'm telling you is, I just asked you a simple thing. Name, when you say Jordan-esque, like if you could have said Shaq, and I would have been like, okay. But when you say Jordan-esque, and you say this is like a Jordan or Scotty thing. No, because never in any you have never seen a series where you said Scotty should have been the MVP of that series.
Okay, you're just trying to argue. I'm gonna let that go. It's the FSU podcast, but okay, man. I ain't get into all that. I'm just saying.
Oh man, all I know is
if you put Trae Young next to Jokic, they probably still win the championship.
See, now you just want to.
No, I'm saying. I mean, you probably could. You probably win the championship.
Now you just want to slap my mom.
No, I'm saying Jokic is like that. But anyway, man, that's the pod. That's the pod. I can't do it. I can't turn this into an NBA hot take show. I mean,
hey, come on, man. Hey, all I know is you need to buy that purse, man.
All right, man. I definitely go, man.
Buy that purse.
All right, man. You know you've been froze for the last like 15 minutes of the show.
I know, man. I know, but I didn't want to do anything, man, other than
we got to get your stream together. We got to get your mic. We got to get you set up over there, man.
Bro, I got that. I got all that. But anyway, all right, man.
He thought I got that. Oh yeah, really? All right, man. But this is the Listen Up podcast, man. I appreciate y'all joining. I think I went through all the questions. Let me make sure. How good is a freshman tight end? It's gonna take us some time. Let me go. Mike Novell reminds me of Dan Hurley. I like this right here, Mike Novell. That's a good comparison. Actually. I think Dan Hurley is I think he stacks a little bit more talent. I don't know. I like Dan Hurley.
Yeah, he just strikes me as that dude that like he's never been like punched.
Who, Dan Hurley?
Like he's never been punched like for the wrong reasons. like he's earned every time like he's gotten in a fight.
Nah, yeah, Dan Hurley wants to get in a street fight. He wants a street fight.
Yeah, that's why he's striking. He's just like nobody.
I don't even know. It said what thigh end is out there. I don't even know. That's like a good ass piece of chicken though. Thigh end. It's big enough to calm down and play linebacker. I mean, Earl's gonna be that guy for you. Like he's gonna be that nickel that's gonna kind of do that safety / linebacker stuff for FSU this year. So that's gonna be Earl Little. Boy said Williamson needs to leave right now. He can't catch her. That is a fact. You know what was funny? I heard somebody was talking about how DJ throws the ball really, really hard, and that makes it tough for them to catch the football. So they would say on the podcast. I was just like,
that's what quarterbacks do.
I'm like, nobody's trying to hear that shit, dude. Catch the football. Put some extra pad in your glove. You know, they said that Elway, when he first got to the Broncos, he was throwing the ball so hard he was breaking their fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you notice, Reeves was calling a lot of deep routes.
Yeah.
He was calling a lot of deep routes, and he was still throwing them on the line.
Yeah,
man. Like it was crazy. Like Elway was like that's all he did. He was all gas, no brakes, man.
You know, they say Elway and Andrew Luck are the only two perfectly graded quarterbacks in NFL history coming out the draft,
which is crazy.
right?
Did you ever see that? This right here, and of course, you know how I feel about Marino. But did you ever see that? You ever see that video of him throwing that ball left-handed?
Yeah. Marino was silly, dude.
Silly,
dude. Yeah, Marino was silly. Yeah, it's probably not. It's probably only two, maybe three other quarterbacks that had more hand talent as far as throwing the football than Marino. That's on his level. It's only three I can think of off the top of my head.
Who would those be?
You
said as much or more?
Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes. I mean,
see,
Marino could throw passes that was like, it's like he could put touch and loft on passes, then he could gun him in there, then he could just, his ball placement was crazy. Like Marino was that dude. He was that dude.
To me, you know what Aaron Rodgers reminds me of?
Oh.
Jeff George with a championship.
Yeah, George has some arm talent too.
He's just Jeff George with a Super Bowl.
Cocaine era Jeff George, man. Yeah.
Woof.
All right, man. Let me get off this pod.
Cuz.
All right, man. But that's the Listen Up podcast, man.
All right, man.
Y'all be blessed.